Hello, guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Vijeta, and today we shall be continuing with more of ICT questions for UGC NET Paper 1. So, let us begin. In which network topology do all nodes connect to a central hub or switch? And a little note, if you are a computer enthusiast or preparing for some other competitive exam relating to computer technology, you can stay here as well. So that's that. So, yeah, the answer for this question is a star topology. See, in a star topology, all nodes connect to a central hub or a switch, which acts as a mediator for data transmission between nodes. So, that is why the right answer is star topology. Which network topology offers redundancy and fault tolerance by providing multiple paths between nodes? That's mesh topology. See, mesh topology offers redundancy and fault tolerance by providing multiple paths between nodes, ensuring that if one path fails, data can still be transmitted through an alternative path. So that's mesh topology for you. You have lots of paths so that if one path fails, data transmission can happen with an alternative path. Which of the following statements about ring topology is true? Data travels in a single direction around the ring in a ring topology. See, in a ring topology, data travels in only one direction, which is around the ring, and it passes through each node until it reaches its destination. That's your ring topology, and it's very easy to understand also, hence the name ring topology. In a star topology, all nodes are connected to a central hub or switch. In a mesh topology, what happens is it offers redundancy and fault tolerance with multiple connections between nodes, as we have studied. Ring topology, we have that function in which each node is connected to exactly two other nodes, forming a closed loop. Easy to understand and figure. Tree topology, hierarchical topology with a root node and branching subnetworks, just like a tree. Point to point topology provides a dedicated communication link between two nodes, and point to point topology is suitable for connecting multiple nodes in a linear fashion. See, point to point topology can provide a dedicated communication link between two nodes, and it is actually suitable only for your connection in a linear fashion. So, that is something. Point to point, the name in itself is quite self describing. And yeah, which network topology combines two or more different topologies into one comprehensive network? That's hybrid. Hybrid topology combines different kind of topologies, hence the name. And you can have star, mesh, ring, or others into one network so that you can meet specific requirements. That's a very exhaustive or kind of a network, but that is hybrid topology for you. In a tree topology, which node typically acts as the root of the hierarchy? A designated node at the top of the hierarchy. See, in a tree topology, the designated node is the root of the hierarchy, and it connects to other nodes in a branching structure. Hence the name tree topology. Now we come to the disadvantages of the topologies. Star topology, single point of failure at the central hub, can be asked in your match the following questions. Mesh topology has a high cost of implementation because it has multiple connections. So that is something. Ring topology, difficult to troubleshoot and maintain because it's circular in nature. So that's why maintenance and troubleshooting becomes a tad difficult. Tree topology, limited scalability with increasing number of nodes. See, if the hierarchy is not properly managed, the scalability can be limited, and nodes will keep on increasing, and it will become difficult to go on and repair. Who is credited with inventing the World Wide Web? That's Tim Berners-Lee. He is the one who invented the www while working at CERN in 1989. HTTP, it's used for transmitting hypertext documents on the World Wide Web. FTP is used for transferring files between a client and the server. SMTP is used for sending and receiving emails. TCP provides reliable, ordered, and error-checked delivery of packets. This can be asked in your match the following questions. Which device is used to connect multiple devices to a local area network, LAN, and route data packets between them? That's a router. A router is used to connect multiple devices to a local area network or a LAN and route data packets between them, allowing devices to communicate with each other and access the internet. Which of the following statements about VPN or virtual private network is true? I have included the right one, which is VPN encrypts data transmission between the client and the VPN server. See, VPN encrypts data transmission between the client and the VPN server, ensuring privacy and security over public networks. That is why a lot of us use VPN these days. Because people say that, all of these Facebook and all, they are all stealing your data and all that. So VPN has become quite popular. Telnet is a protocol used for securely transferring files over the internet. Telnet provides a remote login capability to computers or devices connected to a network. See, Telnet indeed provides a remote login capability to computers or devices connected to a network, but it is not used for securely transferring files over the internet. So, the second statement provided here is a false statement. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Sometimes they ask you such difficult questions. Not difficult, but tricky questions. Which internet service is used for translating human readable domain names into IP addresses? That's DNS. DNS translates human readable domain names into IP addresses, allowing users to access websites using domain names instead of numerical IP addresses. So it makes your work easier. You don't have to remember numerical addresses. SSL or TLS is a protocol used for secure communication over the internet. SSL means secure sockets layer and TLS is transport layer security. URL or Uniform Resource Locator is an address used to specify the location of a resource on the World Wide Web. Firewall is a security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic. DHCP or Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol is a protocol used for dynamically assigning IP addresses to a device on a network. Which of the following statements about intranets is true? I have included the true one. Intranets typically require authentication for access. An extranet provides a secure and controlled environment for collaboration with external stakeholders. Extranets allow organizations to share specific information or resources with authorized external users. C. An extranet indeed provides a secure and controlled environment for collaboration with external stakeholders by allowing organizations to share specific information or resources with authorized external users. Making the reason true, and the explanation is the correct explanation for the assertion. Here these statements are, one of them is the reason and the other is the assertion. So yeah, these kind of questions can also be asked. Which among the following statements are true about intranet? I have included the true ones only. Internet has limited access to authorized internal users. It is primarily used for internal communication within an organization. It requires authentication for access. Internet is primarily used for internal communication within an organization and requires authentication for access. It never facilitates collaboration with external stakeholders or provides any access to authorized external users. Such features are available in extranet only. A lot of you who must have worked in corporate know about intranet. So yeah. Which domain extension is commonly used for non-profit organizations? It's .org. The .org domain is often associated with non-profit organizations, and .com is associated with web addresses of commercial establishments. Meanwhile, .in is a country-based domain which indicates that the particular establishment is operating in India. For instance, you have audible.in, which is for India, audible.com, which is for, actually it is for US mostly, and .org, you have LibriVox.org, the volunteer read LibriVox audiobooks community. That's a public domain organization and mostly a non-profit organization. You can volunteer to read and you can listen to audiobooks for free there. So yeah. Email is a form of asynchronous communication. It allows users to send and receive messages at different times. See, email is indeed a form of asynchronous communication as it enables users to send and receive messages at different times without the need for both parties to be online simultaneously. So that is an example of asynchronous communication. What does NMEICT stands for? National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology. NMEICT actually is a major initiative by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD, to enhance learning outcomes and improve access and quality of education through digital means. Digital initiatives in higher education have led to increased accessibility and affordability of education. That's true. They provide online courses and resources that can be accessed from anywhere. See, digital initiatives in higher education, such as massive open online courses or MOOCs, very important, they have indeed increased accessibility and affordability of education by providing a lot of online courses and resources that can be accessed from anywhere, hence reducing geographical barriers. And a lot of finance is also saved. A lot of money is saving on transportation costs and infrastructure costs. You can just sit at home and you can attend a lecture without having to go out or pay for your food and rent outside, where you have to go and attend classes or maybe live to a different geographical location. So that is something that has made education accessible and affordable for everybody. Which of the following statements accurately reflects the role of ICT in digital governance initiatives? ICT acts as a tool to improve efficiency, transparency, and accessibility in governance. C. While ICT can automate tasks and streamline processes, it often complements human interaction as well. It can reduce reliance on physical offices for some services, but it doesn't eliminate them completely. Physical locations might still be needed for services that require face-to-face interaction or document submission. The digital divide, where some lack internet access, can be a barrier to using e governance services. Meanwhile, it acts as a powerful tool that can improve efficiency, faster processes, transparency, which means increased information access, and accessibility, convenience for citizens in government operations. So, that is something that ICT can do. So, it doesn't completely make us live in a utopian world or a dystopian world where we're just sitting in front of our computers. I mean, in a lot of places it is becoming like that, but the positive side of ICT should also be noted, and with proper balance, one can achieve the best of both worlds. And ICT has improved a lot of things, a lot of aspects of e-governance and education. More transparency, more efficiency, and more accessibility for everybody is something that cannot be denied. And it cannot be denied that ICT has not played a major role in giving that to local citizens, to its local people. So that is something. Which of the following is the benefit of using ICT in education? Increased access to educational resources, improved student engagement, reduced costs, obviously, but not increased teacher workload. That is another option that was given, but it's not true. See, the use of ICT in education can lead to increased teacher workload, as teachers need to learn how to use new technologies and integrate them into their teaching. However, the other benefits listed, such as increased access to educational resources and improved student engagement, outweigh the increased teacher workload. So, yeah, that is true actually. Somehow, teachers, they do have some workload, but if students are able to understand concepts more easily, teachers' work is lessened in that aspect, wherein students have a video at their disposal to understand gravity or understand the concept of velocity, fluid velocity, all these things. So, in that aspect, teachers' workload is reduced. Although compiling things, compiling videos, finding the videos, adding students in a Google Classroom, or all these things, these are some things that are definitely adding up in the teacher's basket. But other than that, there are a lot of advantages to using ICT as well. Umang app is unified platform for accessing various government services. Umang app is a unified platform for accessing various central governmental services like certifications, CBSE results, Central Health Administration, etc. eNAM is an online marketplace for agricultural produce and product updates along with information to farmers. That's for farmers. Swayam, I think a lot of you know, is a digital repository of educational resources. It's an open source digital repository. DigiLocker is a digital document storage and sharing platform. I know you guys use this also. Which program focuses on the digital empowerment of rural communities in India? Pradhan Mantri Gramin Digital Saksharta Abhiyan, PMG Disha. That's the government initiative so as to digitally empower rural communities in India by providing digital literacy training. Which government initiative focuses on promoting digital payments and cashless transactions? That's BHIM, or Bharat Interface for Money. And it's actually aimed for promoting all kinds of digital payments and cashless transactions, so that because right now we need that, and it does that by providing a unified platform for various payment methods.